Hi, I'm VonClayton Gaming, and I'm a Bronze DPS. I'm clearly not one of those stinking Bronze 5 DPS. I'm a Bronze 4 DPS, which is in fact higher than Bronze 5. If you're like me and you are hardstuck Bronze 5 for a really long time, like a goddamn embarrassingly long time, I have a few things to say to you. In Bronze, I was placed in Bronze 5. One of the main reasons that I was placed in Bronze 5, aside from being bad, I also had a ton of losses during placement. That's still my fault. I kept playing when I was on a losing streak. Really, if you lose like 2 games in a row, you should probably stop. It's just not happening. You're not lucky tonight. Maybe you suck tonight. When you have too many consecutive losses, you should just call it and take a break from competitive. Now, in the time that I was Bronze 5, I was able to climb my Bronze 5 tank out of Bronze entirely all the way up to Silver. My support has never seen Bronze for some reason for months, and I am talking over the course of like 2 seasons. I was unable to climb out of Bronze 5. I would win a bunch of games. In some cases I would win like 5 wins, 1 loss, and I would still not rank up. And I'm not really here to tell you how to be a fantastic Overwatch player, but I can tell you how to get out of Bronze 5. If you are stuck in Bronze 5, it may not exactly be your fault. I would like to address the elephant in the room, and that is the ranking system itself. The ranking system being, supposedly primarily based on getting wins is kind of a huge problem for a lot of players, especially if you're solo queuing. It is very likely that you're going to get a team that is just absolute dog shit. That is true. The main point of this video that I'm going to be trying to put forward is, you may be stuck in Bronze 5, there may be external factors as to why you're stuck in that rank. However, it is your responsibility to level up your gameplay, and climb out of this rank. No one's going to do it for you. Blizzard is not going to come by and magically take you out of the rank. One day, the ranking system is not going to be magically fixed and you're going to suddenly shoot up in rank, etc. You may be stuck where you are because of external factors, but again, still your responsibility to climb out. That being said, a few seasons ago, there was absolutely 100% some kind of glitch or problem with the ranking system in which people were getting heavily deranked, as well as hard stuck in Bronze, with just absolutely no hope of leveling out of it. When I ranked up to Bronze 5, what it took was going through 5 competitive cards. That means 5 wins, and I had to do that probably 4 or 5 times. We're talking about winning 20 plus games to get out of Bronze 5. Alright, so all of my competitive games, as you can see in damage, I have 128 games won. And that is literally the amount of games it took me to get from Bronze 5 to Bronze 4, and I barely climbed out. And then, if you also look at tanking, my tanking is about half of what my damage is, but I am like 5 ranks ahead in tanking. There was definitely a confirmed bug in which people were getting hard stuck in Bronze, and I think one of the major reasons for this was because they changed the ranked decay system. Now, they claimed that they got rid of rank decay, which they kind of did, but what they really did, I believe, they actually built it into the ranking system itself. So if you weren't playing a lot of ranked, you would get ranked down. This last season, I have managed to break my Bronze 5 curse, and look, as much as these exterior circumstances are true, as much as the ranking system may suck or you may disagree with it, once again, it is your responsibility, and you are the only person that can climb yourself out of that rank. I do believe it becomes easier over time. Sometimes when I queue with people as a Bronze DPS, my friends are like Silver or higher, and I actually have an easier time in higher ranked lobbies because people know what they're doing. And like, I'm not paired up with just an awful team, etc. But the number one thing and the word of the day is accountability. You have to take accountability for your own gameplay, otherwise you won't grow as a player, and you certainly won't make it much past bronze if you don't do this. And if you're constantly blaming your team, the ranking system, the characters that other people are playing, etc., you are just not going to improve that much. That's just how it works. The same is true in real life. Here are some genuine tips to actually improve your gameplay if you're a bronze DPS that I believe will help you out. Number one, I would highly suggest if you find players that you just kind of vibe with, or you had a really good game where it seems like your team kind of knows what they're doing, or you have some friends in real life, etc., I highly suggest grouping up with people who have an idea of what they're doing. I think bronze is kind of a mess because I think bronze is closer to a grab bag of miscellaneous players than it is like genuine bronze 5 players. Every other game there's clearly someone who just should not be in that rank. Like, I want to take accountability over my gameplay, but at some point when it is so brutal, it really just starts to look like a skill mismatch issue. My second tip, and you might not like this one, especially if you're genuinely new to Overwatch, and that is your character selection. One of the things that really helped me was I stuck to meta characters. I would look up who's S tier, who's A tier, who are the good characters right now, and I would learn them and try and get good on them. That, I think, really helped. So last season and this season a little bit, I played a lot of Cassidy. I am not super experienced in Cassidy, especially compared to other DPS. I had a lot of fun learning him, and, you know, playing a character that's really good, especially one that's a little overpowered, can often be just fun, honestly. Like, sometimes it's just really fun to play a broken character. Sorry. You definitely don't really want to be a one-trick. You know, people joke about there being a bell curve on a one-trick where, you know, hyper-competitive, really good players just play what they like to play, and then noobs just play what they like to play in the middle of the bell. You have people, like, switching and counter-picking, etc. Counter-picking specifically is something that's really important. If you have an enemy character of any kind that is just romping on you and is just destroying you, like for example if you have a Pharah who is just in the sky terrorizing your team, you need to do something about it. That's kind of your responsibility as a DPS. Part of the role of a DPS is not just to output damage, you really need to be like actually doing things that affect the game, like getting picks and taking characters out, you know, destroying turrets, those kinds of things. So DPS is really a lot more than just getting a lot of damage. Like, for example, if you are just doing a ton of damage on the enemy's tank and they're just completely out healing you, then you're making absolutely no difference to what's going on in the game, but you might be stacking up a lot of damage. But who cares? That damage is in the wrong place. Especially for DPS, I would highly suggest picking like your top 3, maybe even your top 5, depending on the characters, and get pretty decent on several DPS characters that allow you to counterpick certain characters, as well as just play something that's good when it's not working. You'll notice that sometimes when you get in games and you start fighting, the character that you pick is clearly just not working. If you hit that point, just swap. Try something different. Just yesterday I was in a game where I was getting absolutely pounded. I tried like 2 or 3 characters I'm really good at, and then I swapped to Mei, and all of a sudden we start winning. Just like that. It's important, you know, and if that's something that you don't like, then I don't know, maybe Overwatch is not for you, because that is a big part of the game, is the interaction of characters with other characters. The other thing that is particularly important for DPS is just practice. And by practice, I mean practice your character, but also practicing your mechanical skills. Like, if you aim better, it's going to improve your gameplay. If you can hit more shots, it's going to help. It really is. It's not bad to warm up in the training area before you hopped in rank, and I would definitely play an unranked game, almost of any kind, even like arcade modes and stuff, just to warm yourself up. And I mean that literally, like warm your hands up, because that does have an effect on your gameplay, but also just warm your brain up, so you're thinking, you're getting used to characters, you're, I don't know, countering stuff, etc. The 10,000 hour rule states that it takes 10,000 hours of practice in a given skill or activity to become a master at it. This study also confronts the idea of talent, where there's an idea where people are just talented and they're just naturally gifted at something. While that is true, what they discovered was talent pretty much only helps in the beginning stages of certain skills. So, for example, if you pick up a basketball and you're really suddenly good at basketball the first time you try it, you'll be really inclined to keep playing, because it's fun to you. It's not frustrating, you don't suck, and it's not annoying. However, you will get outcompeted by someone who outworks you. Period. In fact, this is a common problem. People who are prodigies, who are really naturally good at something, once they get to a point where it starts to become challenging and that talent runs out, they get frustrated with it and they don't want to continue, because now all of a sudden it takes effort for them to do this activity and it's not as fun anymore. That is what separates the pros from the noobs. I love using the example of Michael Jordan, who is renowned as one of the best basketball players of all time. Did you know that he didn't even make his high school basketball team? Think about that. The greatest basketball player of all time didn't even get accepted at a high school level. And I'll read you a quote for a little bit of inspiration. "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Now, I know this is all really dramatic for playing Overwatch and climbing out of bronze, but the point is, practice makes perfect. That isn't some bullshit. That's true. If you want to get better and you want to climb out of these ranks, then you have to take the responsibility for yourself and improve your gameplay, and hopefully you can use that skill to overcome whatever other bullshit that you feel is an external circumstance keeping you where you are. The final tip that I could give, if you can, watch replays of your gameplay, whether that means a screen recording or using Overwatch's built-in system, and pay attention to anything that might be glaringly obvious that's a problem. For me, and I think a lot of other people, especially people who are newer at this game, it's going to be a lot of positioning and game sense. Game sense in Overwatch is absolutely huge. It's important to know, the characters that the enemy team is playing. Who has their ult? Who's with you? I think that's a huge problem with a lot of DPS, where they go in and they fight alone and they have no idea if their tank is anywhere near them. They don't know if they have a healer supporting them. Overwatch is just not a solo game. You need to be aware of what the enemy team is doing, and you need to be aware of what your team is doing. It's important, period. Another part of that would be positioning. I think DPS have this tendency to get ahead of their tank and get really in the face of their enemies. They line of sight their healers so they can't be healed. It makes life so much easier when you have 5 people trying to take care of something than like you and another support. Grouping up, especially in competitive, is important, and that's how you win team fights. As a team. To reiterate some of the things you can do to improve your gameplay in Bronze 5 and get the hell out of that rank is, number 1, get a team. Find people to play with, people who are pretty competent and maybe could even give you some pointers or help you improve your gameplay a little bit in a respectful and positive manner. Character selection. Find characters that you are good with, that you like, that are good in the meta right now, and try and find several different characters that are slightly different that will help you counterpick. Number 3, practice, practice, practice. As we discussed, practice is everything, and your mechanical skills, they matter, especially as DPS. Learn how to use your ult better, learn how to hit shots, do more damage, position yourself better, etc. These mechanical skills and practice, they're just necessary to get better at gaming in general. And finally, pay attention to your game sense. Start paying attention to what the enemy's doing, pay attention to what your team's doing, pay attention to who has their ults, who has what abilities, and how you can interact with them. Again, your positioning, and just, start paying a lot more attention to what's actually happening in the game. And, game knowledge also helps with that a lot. Get familiar with the characters. Know what people's abilities do. When you hear someone speaking Japanese and, you know, it sounds really loud and scary, you should know what's about to happen next. So hopefully this video helps you and inspires you to climb out of Bronze 5. You know, it took me a long time. It's also really important to not give up. I was so close to just saying, screw competitive, it's clearly broken, I'm not going to climb out of here, and no matter how many games I win, nothing's going to happen, but eventually I broke out of it. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. If you have any other advice on how to improve, leave a comment down below, and or if you have any questions or anything like that, or just tell me your experience in competitive. And don't forget to subscribe for more gaming content. This is going to be the greatest gaming channel on the planet. I'll see you later, gamers. Have a good one.